Bianca Belair, Bayley, I Quit match at Money in the Bank. They've tussled a couple times. Can Bianca Belair overcome Bayley one more time? We're going to talk about it in just a second with our special guest. Stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo, it is your boy A-Dazzle. This is WrstlXtra. Yes, you are watching WrstlXtra here live on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel and, of course, listening on AffinityExtra.com. Oh, my days. The day has finally come when Britt Waters has graced us with her presence, her always correct, always right presence.
Usually right.
Most of the time you're right. 90% of the time you're right. And when you get married, you will always be right because the woman is always right. See, I know this already. I've been there. Anyway, let's not go into that part. Folks, yes, I am also here, of course, with the guy that's always here, doesn't leave me alone, doesn't know how to leave me alone. He is my tag team partner, Mex. Mate, what is going on? Let me first just say, yes, we are here with Britt Waters, the ever correct and ever beautiful Britt Waters.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
First of all, First of all, how are you doing? How's your week been? And what's going on?
I'm great. I made some tea because I feel like that's what you guys do. Is that a stereotype, or do you guys really drink tea?
Very much a stereotype. I don't drink tea.
A stereotype.
I'm a coffee man myself, but it's all good. It's all good.
I tried.
Yeah, the effort, A for effort. That's cool. That's cool.
But I'm good. You know, I'm about to be. I've just told your tag partner how I'm about to leave for the USA basketball trials that I'm hosting. So I've been getting all my wrestling in since I'll be away from it for a little bit.
Okay. So we've managed to fit, she's managed to fit us into her busy schedule.
Oh,
it's not always wrestling. It's not always wrestling. This lady is here, there, and everywhere, but mainly basketball, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And a few other things. Sports journalist extraordinaire, and she's here with us, like us.
And then, today, I was like, why did we get this wrestling breaking news right before we get on? I was like, oh, perfect. Let me see what it is. And then I saw what it was, and I was like, that's not great.
What's the breaking news? I'm lost. Oh, again.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah. Jimmy Uso has been stopped for drinking under the influence, DUI. Again, probably the third time in 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wonder whether he actually keeps his job this time. I don't know whether that affects it or not.
I mean, I don't know if he's ever been in a storyline more bigger than this. Like, the worst timing.
Right. The timing is just the absolute.
I mean, there's never a good time.
I mean, come on, always. But this is how it is.
Well, soon after the story came out, there was a story released after that said that the higher ups in WWE are legitimately peed off. Like, yeah. Given where he's probably positioned, that has a lot to do with it. So, yeah, it's a shame.
It's a major shame. I guess we'll just see what happens and keep our eyes on the feed.
You guys don't drink tea. It's terrible.
Oh man, you know what? Next time, when we know that you're going to be on the show, I'll make sure I have a cup of Tetley with me, probably a box of Yorkshire tea behind me.
Earl Grey,
yeah, all of that. Just for you.
Just for the stereotype I got wrong.
Right.
That's right. I'm glad you got it wrong. Right, folks. Let's get into the real madness, the real stories that is going on. As Mex mentioned in the intro, we are about to have Bianca Belair versus Bayley 255. I mean, you know,
Feels like that many times
between them. Yeah, this time it's an I Quit match at Money in the Bank. Mex, I quit. I quit because I've had enough. Mex, you take the floor with this one.
Well, I will say, it feels in recent weeks the storyline is getting a bit better. There's a bit more structure to it, much more than when it started, you know, after WrestleMania and stuff, or restarted, should I say, with the championship on Bianca's side of things. There is a bit more interest to it. And the reason why I'm particularly interested in this is because obviously in the last 2 pay-per-views, Bianca Belair has beaten Bayley. And for this one to be an I Quit match, is Bayley going to lose to Bianca Belair for a 3rd time in a row? Is Bianca Belair about to lose that title? And, you know, if I'm looking a bit further down the line, I think Rhea Ripley maybe loses at Money in the Bank. Charlotte, Becky at SummerSlam, Bayley, Sasha Banks at SummerSlam, the 4 horsewomen in action on the biggest show of the year. I hate to be the bringer of bad news for those that don't want to hear it, but it's beginning to look that way. What do you guys think?
Britt, give me your correct opinion.
We just jumped to SummerSlam with comebacks.
We do that.
Let's come back.
That was a lot. You guys do that a lot. But then I get really upset because I think that like what you say is going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, I'm like, this isn't what I was told. When you mentioned the Big E Kofi thing, I actually was like, you manifested it in my head. And then I thought it was going to happen and it didn't happen. I was like, where did I hear? Yep. Next. I am so tired of this. And, you know, I thought that Bianca was going to be a fighting champion. She hasn't been on the main roster but so long when you compare it to all the other women. So I think there's some quality matches there. And the bar was set so high at Mania that I wanted to see her wrestle a lot, whether it be an open challenge, whether it be something new to work up to the Bayley situation. Because I'm like, okay, I got it at first, but it's just too much. And it kind of diminishes what she could have had. Like even thinking about her losing the belt right now, I look at her reign and what do I see? Like 2 great matches? Bayley and Sasha. I'm like, what? And her reign could have been so much more. She could have been involved in so many things by now. Mania was so long ago, it feels like. So I don't want to see her drop the belt, but I'm also like, what are we doing with Bayley when we have her lose to almost a newbie, as she says, 3 times? And I'm thinking with timing, Bayley does deserve a break. Bayley's had this women's division on her back for quite some time. And we've seen Sasha take multiple breaks within that. I think Bayley's been on our TV since she was still hugging people. So maybe this I Quit part is where, you know, she does get a break in it. But yeah, if Bianca's reign ends here, I'm not impressed by what happened.
Nah, not at all. And as we said, you know, the only thing we've seen is the match at Mania. But since then, it's been 2 pay-per-view matches, 2 very good matches at the pay-per-view. But everything in between, as we said on the show last week, everything in between has just been absolutely either pointless, lackluster, doesn't make any sense. And we're still getting the same thing now, because even with the promo on SmackDown, it was the same laughter thing. I don't know what that is. They're both laughing at each other and saying, I can beat you. We've done this now for like 3 months.
It's not great.
I don't get it. I personally would have preferred, it would have been a lot easier to maybe build someone even just for this pay-per-view at Money in the Bank, just for Bianca to have a match. Maybe like Carmella, maybe. Even if we know.
Zelina said she had unfinished business. And I was like, unfinished business sure ain't with Liv. I'm like confused. And that would have been a great squash match, but it would be great to see with Bianca. But I think her and Bayley have just run out, because even before Bianca had the belt, they were doing, you know, the little obstacle courses, all of those things. It was like, girl, we've seen it. Like, no wonder why creative has ran out of stuff, because y'all been feuding for all of 2021.
Basically, that has happened, and what they could have done as well is have Bayley in the Money in the Bank match, and that would kind of give us something to look forward to, maybe in the hope that Bayley could win. You know what I mean? Whether she wins or not is neither here nor there, but it would have just added some excitement to a match, to me, at the moment, that doesn't feel exciting. I really don't care who wins right
What,
now.
the Money in the Bank?
Yeah. The women's one, I really don't care who wins.
You don't care?
Nah.
You don't care? Bianca loses, and this is all we got out of her
no.
historic reign?
If it's with the Bianca match, yeah, but I'm talking the women's Money in the Bank match.
The actual ladder match.
Yeah, the actual ladder match. With everyone that's in it.
Yeah.
No one kind of either makes me feel, okay, yeah, they should win it, or it'd be nice if they, it doesn't really matter to me.
I think Sasha needs to come back, be inserted into that match, and just win it.
No.
Why not?
No. That's more of the same. And yes, I love Sasha. But like, we cannot lean on Sasha every single time that we need a boost, or else she'll end up like Charlotte.
Yep.
And I love Charlotte too. There's
and Max, we already know what you said about Charlotte earlier.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I agree with everything Britt just said in regards to it shouldn't be Charlotte to win. I'm just thinking with my WWE cap on that is like break the glass in case of emergency, put Sasha in and Sasha wins it, probably cashes in same night and wins or something like that, because that's the kind of stuff they do with the women's division. They don't really book it, long term sort of thing. They haven't built anyone to necessarily think, okay, this could be someone credible. Like for me, in the men's side of things, it looks obvious that Drew could win. I think Riddle could be a possible winner as well. There's no one in the women's one that immediately screams out is going to be the winner. And for me, the winner probably comes from SmackDown as well, because with Becky returning sometime soon, they're not going to probably involve a Money in the Bank over there on Raw. So the winner is probably going to be one of the SmackDown ladies.
Because they
do that so often with the women, though.
With the rematch between Sasha and Bianca, they could stretch that a few weeks. They're not going to just do that all on the same pay-per-view. No way.
But you know what? But unfortunately, with everything that Bianca's done since she's moved to SmackDown, everything in between the matches is kind of like not exciting in the slightest. So even obviously the build up with Sasha and Bianca before up to Mania wasn't great either. So I wouldn't even want them to build that. And as Mick said, they've done it, at least probably 3 or 4 times. I remember Alexa Bliss doing it on the night, cashing in on the night, and
Bayley did as well.
Yep. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. They haven't done the longed out Money in the Bank winner, apart from Carmella when it comes to the ladies.
Yeah.
So
I want to get excited to watch women's wrestling on TV.
Right.
Like remember back in the day when like I don't know, like we couldn't get to the pay-per-view till like a day later. So it was like I was so excited. Like very recently, because it's been trash for a while, I was excited to see Raw, to see, oh my gosh, what is Kofi going to do? I have not been excited to see SmackDown, to see Bianca since she had the belt.
Right.
And that's bad. Like I'm like, don't save everything for the pay-per-view, because more people are gonna watch it on TV.
Yeah,
I think just like you said, Britt, one of Bianca's strengths that they hang their hat on is her physical ability. So literally let her go out and just do maybe open challenge after open challenge. It doesn't have to be like there is no women on SmackDown. It's like 5 or 6 of them. So you can bring up people from the Performance Center or NXT or anything like that, and just not like, even if you want to make it a bit of a competitive something, but what Bianca gets across in the match is her actual athletic strength, or she does something like a bit of a wild spot in every match, just to make her visible and stop all this kind of, like we say, laughing, like literally looking at Titrons and laughing and being laughed at, and then doing the laughing and blaming her ponytail for losing matches, and it's all a bit.
We want to see you bench pressing Otis again, if anything.
Right,
just something along the lines of that. I'll just pick up with
something.
Yeah. Jonesy
even
chats wrestling
wise, like outside of wrestling, I think there's so much more of the fluff that she could do. I think her and Montez together are hilarious on social media. Bring part of that reality into the show. Just do, kind of like what the Hurt Business is doing. There's plenty of times when Bobby's not wrestling, but they got the girls, they got the parties, they're rolling up, have something for her to show off her personality, because it is great. She's great on the mic. She looks good. Like, I would love her to be doing like some intergender matches. Like, as many guys are on that roster, Just be like, oh, you got an open challenge? What's up? Even if she's fighting Reginald, I don't care. Like, just make it.
Ooh,
give
Bianca
me a reason to watch the women's champion besides to see her laugh.
I remember saying, I think it was after on the road to WrestleMania, there where she should have had those kind of skits, like somewhat kind of similar to those old school Mr. Perfect ones, where she's just doing some mad strength stuff in the gym and like the performance center and all those kind of things to just build her and make Sasha be like scared of that, you know, she's physically imposing sort of thing, because even her and Sasha, brilliant match at Mania, but nothing, you know, going on the road to Mania. Jonesy Chats Wrestling has said in the chat, prediction, Bayley to put her career on the line and actually win the belt, and it will then be a hair versus title match at SummerSlam.
Hair versus title.
Oh man, cut that ponytail off at SummerSlam. Wow. Imagine.
Bayley's got major heat with the ponytail still.
Oh my god.
That is very true. That is very true. Bayley versus the ponytail.
Her hair. I'm like, why?
A black woman with her hair, they always get mad. Yeah, it's normal, isn't it?
They've never not been mad.
Exactly. We see it all the time. In the workplace, especially.
My dream, like, fluff skit is like her and Big E in the gym lifting. Like, just putting them both over and just seeing them do crazy, because I know they both can do crazy stuff. They both need that build. But you know.
It's laziness. Like everything we're mentioning, they own gyms, they own a performance center. Just they have cameramen. Like, just go and do it. You see what I mean? It's nothing we're saying is out of the ordinary or massive budgets. You know, they're just trying to get away with the bare minimum.
I know we still gonna come and join.
Yeah, basically.
I just don't understand any of it. You know, luckily, she's had great matches, and that reminds us how good Bianca is or can be. And in a way, in a negative way, it also reminds us how good she should be.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not seeing that. So it's a very difficult one. I could understand if there are people that now don't necessarily care about Bianca Belair, or maybe even turned against Bianca Belair. But yeah, something needs to happen. I don't know what that is. In the sense of, I know what I want it to be, but whether WWE will make that happen is another thing altogether. If they haven't done it now, it doesn't make me think they're gonna do it anytime soon. So yeah, I'm a little worried that it will be a Bayley win. It feels way too early for Bianca to lose, but at the same time, it would be very weird for Bayley to lose 3 times in a row. It's a very
weird finish, because I also feel like Bayley deserves a break.
But I don't think Bayley's missing SummerSlam. Remember, she wasn't on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, you know, again, Jonesy puts here Bianca versus Sasha versus Bayley.
I was just about to say that. I think that could happen. That could happen. That would make it interesting. Who
do you think would walk in as champion in the?
I think it's
somebody who's not going to walk out as champion.
I think it's going to be Bayley, if I'm honest. Actually, I think it'll be Bayley. Yeah, that would make sense. I guess so. Yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But moving on, folks, to something a little bit more positive. We're seeing this little. I'm hoping it is a little resurgence from our guy Ricochet.
Glimmer of hope.
Yes, it is a bit of a glimmer of hope. We have talked about it before a couple of weeks ago, but I think given the matches that he's had with Johnny Drip Drip, the great Johnny Drip Drip, in the last 2 weeks, you know, we said this when Ricochet qualified for the Money in the Bank match after beating AJ Styles. We were like, okay, right, he's in this match just for the spots, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I believe that's what it's going to be come Money in the Bank. But I'm also hoping it then helps him to then move to another level, or at least come back to, you know, maybe the United States title picture or something like that. Surely all this stuff that he's doing won't go unnoticed. What do you think, Britt?
I would love for him to win it, but like, it's a big stretch.
That's a little
I wouldn't mind him winning it, because I feel like Of everyone on Raw, I know they're like, main eventers or mid-carders, except Ricochet. He kind of like teeters the way Andrade used to. So I think if he was going to get a push, it would make sense because they don't book him the same way they book, I'd say, like Cedric, unfortunately. So I would like to see him do really well. And even if it wasn't a win in Money in the Bank, just like even the almost win will put him over. Kind of like what, not last year's Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble before that, when Bianca did enough to get noticed that we knew her push was coming, but she didn't have to win. So I think it can't just be the flying spots like what he did with John Morrison the other day. It has to be like he's in that final 3, He has to do something big to get back in the title picture, I think.
Very true, very true. Mixed.
Yeah, I think like we said, I think Ricochet's there for the spots. He's there for the amazing, the wow moments, to wow the crowd that will be returning at that pay-per-view. With him winning it, it is a complete and utter stretch.
Yeah, he's not gonna win.
Yeah. However, like I think we mentioned some weeks ago, if he does win it, which I'm all for, like we said, this it's kind of like a title, but it's not the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's this guy or girl is next up, basically. They are next, in line to become the top.
Usually.
Person. Yeah. More time, more often than not. And Ricochet, we can all say, right now, that's not the case. But he could win it. They can build him really well. And when he does finally go to cash in, he can lose. And if they do it right, I will be okay with that. Like, they've created a star, but he hasn't got it all, right at the end of, the rainbow, as they say, or whatever the case is. So, but at that point, they've built him up again to at least some decent level. And then if he, I don't know, drops down to the United States Championship or even sticks around the main event and becomes a credible challenger for another champion somewhere down the line, I think it's fine. The Money in the Bank, often ends with a championship winner, but this could be something different, another way to build somebody, but they don't quite get the prize at the end. However, with the briefcase, we all might think, for a year or so, wow, Ricochet is going to become champion, but just something different. Use it to create a star.
Who do you want to win?
Who do I want to win? I would right now with the field of people that's in it. I would probably say Ricochet. I like Kevin Owens a lot, but Kevin Owens as a heel with the briefcase would be so much better. Big E could be good. Like I said, if Big E, if Kofi beats Bobby Lashley and Big E wins and cashes in the same night, I'll be all in for that. All in. But I think Riddle, Drew McIntyre are the favorites. Who do you guys want to win?
I'll let Britt answer before she has a nervous breakdown.
Next just says stuff and then makes me, it's like, here's the toy that you really want for your birthday. And then you're thinking, manifesting it, your birthday comes and you don't get it. That's the next step to me.
So you'll be into that as well then?
Yes, of course. I would love that. That's what I want. It's not gonna happen. But guys, there's a superstar that I really like that a lot of people do not, and I feel a little face turn happening, and I feel like maybe, I don't think it'll happen, but if you're saying who I want to win, Baron Corbin.
I knew he was going to say that. I'm kind of seeing a face turn happening, or a definite change in attitude. If it's
besides
not
his facial hair, because that he needs to get in there and.
But that's part of the story. The breakdown. But yeah,
I'm sure there was a story about WWE filing for the trademark. Was it Happy Corbin or something like that? So, or it's worse than King Corbin. Everything Corbin done in the last 3-4 years has been terrible, and I don't like it because I like Baron Corbin as well. But in terms of who I want to win, I really don't know. Who I see winning.
You don't know for the women either. You got to pick someone. You can't say nothing on both.
And this is the thing. Like, again, it's my head always does this thing where I know who I want to win, but WWE are not going to make it happen. So I don't want to say it.
Say it.
Okay, who I would want to win deep down inside? John Morrison. I just need him to be a WWE champion. I'm a Johnny Drip Drip fan.
What?
I'm a Johnny Drip Drip fan. I'm sorry.
Again, I wouldn't mind Morrison winning it, but I don't want to see him as champion. Personally.
No, he's been used completely wrong since he's come back. So it's like, it's not going to happen.
I hear you.
That should have happened ages ago. But in terms of who I expect to win, I'm only seeing Drew or Riddle. Either one of those two. And I don't want to see that, but nothing else makes any sense. Biggie as Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank usually comes with a heel turn. And when it's a face, it's like it's very corny. I don't need to see more corny Biggie. I'm done with all of that. I don't necessarily see them doing a heel Big E for now. So it's tough. It's tough.
Wrestling Republic just said, yep, they have trademarked Happy Corbin. Fun fact, Baron isn't actually meant to be his first name. It's meant to be his title. That's why it changed to King Corbin when he wins the title.
No.
I don't lie.
Is that like Kingsuke Nakamura? I was like, Kingsuke? What?
Yeah, that Kingsuke. Yeah, that whole crown and Baron losing the
Nikki
crown
Ash.
after 2
I'm
years.
like, can we stop with the names? Because like, that's how you push the casual fans away. Like, we're gonna be in it, but like, if someone is cheering for Nikki Cross, and then a month later it's Nikki Ash, and then they're like King Court, and then they're like, oh, Shinsuke, you mean Kingsuke? Like, that's how you lose people.
Yeah, of course.
You can't keep up.
It's so weird. But that is very interesting. Baron's actually a title. That just makes things worse.
The more you know.
I mean, back to Ricochet. I think he was obviously in the US title scene before Sheamus got his injury. Sheamus seems to be back now. He's going to take on Humberto Carrillo next week for the title, or defend the title, should I say. So maybe, Ricochet kind of gets back in there after Money in the Bank in the US scene. Guess they need some guys in there. They need faces on Raw. There's a complete lack of babyface stars. So yeah.
Where's Randy been?
Oh, that's actually I have no idea what's happened there.
I think someone said last week he missed his flight from wherever home is for him to Florida, but then I don't know where he was this week.
On the flight, maybe. I don't know.
still on the flight, still in the air.
A week later, yeah.
We don't need him in Money in the Bank, but where are you?
Yeah, that's true.
It was definitely going to be him, though. I think it was definitely going to be him and not Drew.
Yeah.
So maybe he's injured. Yeah, I think because of the whole Randy Orton Riddle dynamic, I still think Randy Orton's going to get in there and maybe cost Riddle. Maybe.
RK Bro.
Yeah.
Like pretend to help him up the ladder, push the ladder, and then RKO him from the top of the ladder. I don't know.
He's doing it again.
I can't help it.
I'm here for it. Because I'm seeing that breaking up like within weeks anyway. It's not going to last very long at all. So
come back.
Yeah, of course. Oh, now I'm just envisioning that ladder push and RKO. Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
See what he does to people?
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
I'm usually screaming at the screen while I watch you guys. But it's too early for that here. I'm like, I don't need to get this riled up.
Moving on, we're still staying on Raw, we're still staying with WWE, and of course we are only weeks away from the first ever all black WWE Championship match between Kofi Kingston and Bobby Lashley. Of course, we saw just yesterday on Raw the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods beat MVP and Bobby Lashley in a tag team match. Do we see any title change whatsoever? I think this is like a one-word type of answer question, but do we?
Do you?
No.
Yeah.
What do you think? How How are you seeing it, Britt? Like in terms of like how does it feel? Is it something you can sink your teeth in? Because the outcome seems obvious? Are you excited still? How are you feeling?
I'm so excited because, like you said, we've never seen two black men going for the title, so I'm excited on that front. And it's like we can't lose. Like I'm always cheer for Kofi, but like we can't lose, and it's the first time I've ever felt that way, like ever. Even like in Mania, it was great, but I'm like, you know, I love Sasha. I'm already used to Sasha. I was really going for Bianca, but here I'm just like, I want Bobby to have a long reign with memorable matches and put over other people of color. That's amazing. But I've been waiting months and months, all right, maybe years, for Kofi to get back in the title picture. So I'm glad it's happening. I think it's a lot of pressure, but they're going to show off, and it's going to be a great match because the stuff they've been doing is great. And I like how it gave Raw a resurgence because Kofi and MVP are so great on the mic. So great. I think they had like the longest promo ever, and I was like, still like, give me more of it. But there's no way they're putting the belt on Kofi again right now. No way.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I would love it. I would love both outcomes, but you know.
Mex, how you seen it?
Yeah, a long shot for Kofi to win, unless, you know, WWE are listening to this show and they want to implement my little idea. But
I think they do listen every time, and they just like to do the opposite of whatever you do to break all of our hearts. So maybe say that you want Bobby to win, and they'll let Kofi win.
Maybe it'll happen. Yeah, I think it's just a brilliant occasion, like you guys have really said. Bobby Lashley has to now look menacing. This is, you know, the whole reason they broke up the Hurt Business, as they said. They want him to look menacing. He's getting too over as a face. They've put him against probably top genuine face in the company, in Kofi Kingston. So when the crowds come back, there is that clear divide: who we boo, who we cheer. And unfortunately, well, we're gonna get a great match from it, but unfortunately, Kofi is just there to, you know, do the honors for Bobby Lashley.
The way you put it though sounds like it could get like brutal to make us really hate it, because like that'll get under my skin if he's getting Kofi bloodied.
I'm about to do it again, but if they've got a big match lined up for Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam, then that may just be the way to go, to absolutely make him look like the almighty that he is.
Give Kofi some color on Money in the Bank.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I don't know if my little heart can take it. But I'd watch.
Josie Chats Wrestling said Kofi promos have been one of the best thing on Raw, although Lashley is not losing the title here. And we've been joined by SCW, the wrestling channel. Say hey everyone. Hope everyone is well. Hope you're well too, man.
Yes. Thanks everyone for joining us so far. Here's an interesting thing. So we here have been speculating for months and maybe even a whole year that, you know, Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar is what's going to happen at SummerSlam. The interesting thing that I saw last week is talks with Brock Lesnar started and ended, but now the possibility of Goldberg.
I did see that, yeah. He's scheduled to have one more match this year.
Yep.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So. And if I'm completely honest, if it is, Lashley's gonna lose.
You reckon?
I really think that's gonna happen. I've just got, every time Goldberg turns up, he wins. Every time he turns up, he wins.
He did it with Drew in Royal Rumble.
Short term, yeah, but that was Drew and that was then. But I don't know. I mean, Lashley's been champion for long enough. Did they change it? They won a big match at SummerSlam.
When did he become champion? Was it February?
Long enough.
February.
So it was February. Yeah, definitely February. Yeah,
Black History Month.
Come on. It's been long enough
for you guys.
Yeah, different. I'm so confused. Y'all don't even drink tea, so I don't know what to believe.
Our Black History Month is October.
We don't have Black History Month. We don't know what Black History is in England. To be honest, actually, there's hardly any. Like we get taught about American and Black history in our Black History Month.
Anyway, so do we.
Let's not go there. So I feel as though they wanted to build Bobby to a big match for SummerSlam. After that, who knows? Who cares? That's why I'm feeling as though if whether it is Brock, whether it is Goldberg, Lashley's gonna lose. The build-up is for one of those to beat the almighty Bobby Lashley.
For the title.
It makes sense.
For the title, yeah.
But I just don't see what either one of them would do with the belt after that. You know what I mean?
Nor do I. But I just know what WWE are like. It's just like, you expect it?
Bro.
I wouldn't even mind if that happened after he dropped the belt.
As in he has those matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
I would rather it that way.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, most definitely. I wouldn't want to see him lose it. But at the same time, who's left? Who is there to beat Bobby Lashley? Like
Drew McIntyre.
Kofi Kingston.
Bro, it can't be Drew. Kofi Kingston.
It cannot be Drew.
It can't be Drew.
It could be Big E going over there in the draft.
Yes, because obviously we know that's been the talk as well. Big E going over to Raw.
I would love that.
So if Big E wins the Money in the Bank, then gets drafted over to Raw.
If that means we get more Hurt Business versus the New Day promos, I'm here for it. Because that's the only ones I pay attention to.
Yeah, very true.
It could be a Seth Rollins, assuming that Seth Rollins gets drafted over to Raw because his wife is over there once they hit the road again. Yeah, could be Rollins.
So you don't want to see the Seth versus Roman thing?
I do. I would love to see that, but
I would love.
I'm just thinking from a WWE point of view. They may
do. We have to remind ourselves we can't think on our own merit. We have to think.
In that case, Eva Marie wins Money in the Bank.
That's a shout. That is a shout, to be honest.
That is a possibility. Don't even throw that out. That's a very strong possibility.
We got SCW Steve says, don't think my stress levels can take Goldberg beating Lashley. I personally need Big E switch to Raw to go after Lashley to defend Kofi after the beating you've predicted.
Yep.
And we've got Brian, Wrestling Realm in the building. He said, what up, Bloodline? What's up, brothers?
Hi, family.
Come on. Waters.
This is a hug.
Jonesy's also thrown another name in. I'd rather see Damian Priest face Lashley. That could be someone as well.
Damian Priest. We love him.
Yeah, Damian Priest. That's an interesting one.
They don't see him that way, though. They're not pushing him that way. They're pushing Jinder over him. And we don't want to see Jinder over Bobby Lashley.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. That just means Lashley will win. I'm fine with that.
Even the points are not to be an obvious win. But if we're thinking WWE brain and we have an Eva Marie Money in the Bank winner and a Riddle Money in the Bank winner, do we then see Riddle versus Lashley? Or is Riddle going for a different belt? Whose belt is Riddle going for? I'm just like, I'm trying to think ahead, like Mexican doing, but like, I gotta be taking it week by week.
It is difficult just because if you look at who is on Raw that can be a credible challenge, it is very few and far between. Damian Priest is a great shout. I think Brian, he's just seconded that in the chat. We got to see Damian dominate more, 100%, bro.
I would love for him to feud with like Ricochet and make it a long thing for something.
That would be great.
I would love that.
Speaking of Big E and Kofi, obviously we saw that WWE named the New Day the greatest tag team of all time, the greatest WWE tag team of all time, before people start talking about the Steiner Brothers and Harlem Heat and whatever else. I don't know where those comments came.
They came from your Instagram page.
Yeah.
This guy's comments are wild. His comment section is
crazy. The only thing I was doing that whole time for that whole day was like, Harlem Heat are not a WWE tag team. Harlem Heat are not a WWE tag team. Harlem Heat were not in the WWE. People are still commenting the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's crazy.
Someone was like, what about the Young Bucks? I'm like... And I just be trolling. I wanted to be like, nah, this is messed up. RK Bro was robbed. I just be trying to get people to fight with me.
Oh man. So what
Purely
do
on
we think?
numbers, you can't argue with the numbers.
You can't argue. I completely agree. You can't argue. When I first saw it, I was like, the New Day. Then when you stop and think, the numbers, the money, the numbers, the longevity, the fact that Kofi Kingston became champion. I don't know whether that was brought into it at all, but it happened, and they held the 3 titles and stuff. So I don't understand how anyone argued. You know what I mean? I don't understand how anyone argued the point. Some people were like, "Oh, but what about Edge and Christian?" I don't know why they were in the top 5, if I'm honest.
So for you guys,
go on.
Are you happy with New Day as number 1? Like, undoubtedly, if from like a wrestling angle, from a title winning angle, everything. Are you happy with them as number 1?
I understand why people of a certain age group would be. There was a time in my life where I never thought anyone was ever more important, someone I really wanted to watch than the Hardy Boys. Like, that's just, I wanted to learn how to paint my face like Jeff. Like, I just thought that and then they were real brothers, because that was around the time I was starting to realize certain people weren't actually brothers. So I was skeptical about a lot. So I think I remember a lot more Hardy matches than I do New Day matches. But when I think about my wrestling experience, there's a lot of things that, like, it might not be like a historic tag team match, like, the New Day versus the Street Profits was like great for tag team wrestling. But that's not really what WWE has done and focused on in the New Day era. But someone that can stay so over for so long and change in different ways, like, whether they're singing on the choir to just being pranksters and all of these things. And when, like I said, when I think of Kofi Mania, I don't think of Kofi. I think of New Day. I think of, everything they had to get there. The gauntlet match before Mania that got him in. Like, I think of those things, and I'm like, I have more New Day experiences than I do with the Hardy Boys. But I mean, it was real close in my head. I was like, oh, okay. But I'm thinking about my merch. I'm like, I just spent a lot of New Day money.
You're the reason they're number 1.
And all the kids buying the damn unicorn figurines and pancakes. And the kids really have a hole on WWE these days. So you got to think about all of that. I don't know. There's no kids out here rocking Jeff Hardy shirts unless their parents bought it.
That is very, very true. That is very true. But even given how I like to try to be unbiased in my judgment of wrestling. So when you look at, like the PWI 500 and all those types of lists and the criteria they usually have, and also, of course, with the Jet Power 10, which we'll talk about later, it makes a lot of sense, because obviously we said already, numbers say everything, both with championship wins, longevity of championship reign in history, 478 days, I think it was, or 482, I can't remember, something like that. And then, of course, numbers in terms of the money, the merch, numbers in terms of how long they've stayed together as well, as a team, unbreakable. And then on top of that, you have to look at the emotional connection. So, Britt mentioned it with Kofi Mania and how that came about and how genuine that was. And it's not just about Kofi, it's about the New Day in general. Then you go all the way back to, the story that Xavier Woods shared when Kofi won the championship, about how they almost got sacked. And then they went off on this risk of saying, all right, let us do our own thing. If it doesn't work, you can get rid of us.
Sack us,
7 years later, we're still here.
Let me get the tissues. And knowing everything that was against them. And when you think about sports, like, that's all people talk about. When they say who's the greatest in basketball, they be like, oh, LeBron ain't got 6 rings. It's all about that. When you think about, who's on your Rushmore, no one's not going to say Ric Flair just because of the amount of titles. It's just, that's how it is. And it's the influence. Like, when Kofi was doing the promo with MVP and was talking about, I took the belt to Ghana. Like, who took the belt to Ghana? It was
brilliant promo.
Brilliant can't take the belt to Ghana. Like, it's just like, it's the things that were stacked against them that was not stacked up against any other tag team in that magnitude in this era.
Right. And for that alone, people forget that wrestling is about the emotional connections. It's all about how you connect with the fans, and no one else. Yep, the Hardy Boys came very close to being that, favorite tag team of almost everyone.
Yeah.
But the New Day actually were the favorite tag team of everyone. Whether you wanted them.
Well, I would hate to burst your bubble here, guys, but
Here we go.
Jonesy Chats Wrestling says New Day #1. No way. The Dudley Boys were so much better in their prime. And Brian Wrestling Realm has said here, and I am inclined to agree, I wish Usos would have been top 5. So, yeah, I don't mind New Day being 1. I definitely rate the Dudley Boys highly as well.
Yep.
But Usos not being top 5 has rubbed me the wrong way.
Yes. I honestly believe they should have just swapped Edge and Christian and the Usos.
Yes.
I'm good. Because I think Edge and Christian were number 3 or 4? And the Usos were at number 7. That makes no sense to me. I don't get that.
I always thought Edge and Christian was overhyped, but
definitely overhyped. There was something about them. Yeah, you want to put them in the top 10. I'd understand, especially with the whole TLC stuff and all that stuff that happened in that era and whatever else. That makes a lot of sense. But to put them that high, I don't know. But moving on to other things where we are judging the performances of others. Let us go to the most important monthly list in all of wrestling. It is the Jet Power 10. And we're looking at the month of June. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to run through the honorable mentions first. I'll then go from 10 to 6, and then we'll go from 5 to 1, and we'll each one we'll break it down a little and get some opinions and stuff like that. So, first honorable mention is Sasha Banks. Yes, we've not seen Sasha Banks on TV. Yes, correct. And it's looking like, what do you mean, Sasha Banks? But Sasha Banks, of course, topped the Black Wrestling Podcast 50 list. So for that reason alone, she has to be mentioned honorably. We like to, of course, give credit to our own lists. Yes. We like to give credit to our own lists. So, of course, Sasha Banks is in there. Nyla Rose was another one for me. She's gone on this 6-win streak on Dark and Elevation. Yeah, it's Dark and Elevation, but now she is the number 1 contender for Britt Baker's AEW Women's Championship as well, and put Britt through a table in a most devastating way last week on AEW Dynamite. So Nyla Rose gets a shout. And the other person
is Vicky okay? Has anyone checked on her?
She might still be on the floor. I'm not sure. The other person I want to give a little shout out to as well is a wrestler called Jarcy. Jarcy is the guy who won the Black Wrestlers Matter Championship, the first person to win it. That happened on Juneteenth, of course, the great day, June 19th. So shout out to Jarcy on that one. Going into the top 10 now. At number 10 is Ricochet. We've spoken about Ricochet and what he's done in the last few weeks. So Ricochet is there. Number 9 is Carmelo Hayes.
Okay.
The guy who made his debut against the NXT Cruiserweight champion Kushida. Amazing match. And then 2 weeks later, came out with his ruthless aggression against the epic eye roll from Britt. Oh my word.
Some things you just don't touch.
Right. Very true. Very true. But luckily, he amended his mistake, I guess, with an absolutely phenomenal match against Adam Cole, of course, proving how great he is and will be. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of Carmelo Hayes in the very near future on NXT. Number 8 is someone who just about missed out last month, actually, is JTG. So JTG made his debut on NWA at the start of June and defeated Fred Rosser, who also recently signed with New Japan as well. And he's now, I think the match is tonight, actually. It's Tuesday today. His match is tonight for the NWA National Championship. So he could be a champion within what 2-3 weeks of signing with the company.
Yeah.
That's massive, and it's amazing to see JTG being pushed. He looks completely
He's been
different.
looking good too.
Yeah.
He looks
I was like, "Oh,
completely
quarantine
different.
did that body good." I was like, "Oh, yes."
Yeah. So Jay the God, as he calls himself now, he's at number 8. Number 7 is Fire and Flavor, who have not moved from that place since last month. Again, still defending their Knockouts Tag Team Championships, and did so at Against All Odds, the last pay-per-view on Impact. Number 6 is Biggie. Biggie kind of creeps in. He qualified for the Money in Bank ladder match, of course, and has beaten Apollo Crews on 2 or 3 occasions in the month of June. So, you know, he gets that little squeeze. He gets a little squeeze in there, Biggie. Number 5 is his New Day brother, Kofi Kingston. Of course, Kofi. Now, his win-loss record was not great in June at all. I think he won 1 match against Riddle, and I think he had 4 matches. But of course, we know he is the number 1 contender. Of course, he will be facing Lashley in the first ever all-black WWE Championship match. And of course, as we just mentioned, the New Day were named the greatest tag team of all time in WWE. I'm gonna go to Mex real quick. Do you see more? Do you see Kofi rising in this list for next month, or will he disappear?
Kofi can rise on the basis of putting on a fantastic performance with Bobby Lashley, and I think that's where we draw the line.
And then what?
I see Britt drinking her tea.
I mean, unless you want me to go to that well again, I'll leave it. I've beat the horse dead today. But yeah, I think, you know, Bobby Lashley is going to retain that Money in the Bank. But Kofi Kingston is going to make him look like a complete animal, just great performance. And yeah, maybe that is going to be what's going to instigate Big E coming over, because he's seen Xavier get beaten up. He's seen Kofi get beaten up, and that will be what instigates Big E coming over to Raw. Yes. At number four is MSK, the NXT Tag Team Champions. They defended their tag team championships against Legado del Fantasma on NXT, and then in a winner takes all 6-man tag team match alongside the then North American champion Bronson Reed against Legado del Fantasma, and it was an amazing match. Absolutely amazing match. Always amazing performances from those guys, Wesley and Nash Carter. I'm going to go straight to number 3. Number 3 actually dropped 1 place from number 2. It's Bianca Belair. I put Bianca Belair on number 3. I was like, do I not? But again,
she don't wrestle.
Yeah, exactly that. Apart from
the top wrestlers, she don't wrestle.
That's the problem. Apart from the great Hell in a Cell match that she had with Bayley, she's done nothing.
Yeah.
So she's just there on the basis of that, you know, that win at the pay-per-view and a good match. It was a very, very good match. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Yes.
The new North American champion. I'm going to go to Britt for her feedback on Isaiah Swerve Scott, and of course, Hit Row. How do you see these guys? How are you liking the group? I'm
obsessed with them. I love them. And shout out to AJ Francis. We were college friends, so I'm also a little bit biased. But what you said earlier about the New Day and when they took a risk of really being themselves. This is the first time I've seen really a stable to out the bat, like debut as something that represents them. Hit Row, they all make music outside of wrestling. And I think when you get those moments like the New Day being, you know, jokesters that are really connecting with their personality, that's when it works. And that's why I think this is going to work so well. And it's also a gimmick that a lot of people try who aren't really about that, and it doesn't work. So to see it work well, I'm really excited. And I always thought that, like, you know, of course we love Isaiah, but he needs people that are also on screen that are cheering him on. And I think this is the best way they can protect him. They can hype him up, and they can just take over And I love it. I love it. And they go full force. They're not like half-ass doing it. Like you can see on social media that they're still carrying on like the storylines. The looks are bomb right out the bat. Like they've shaken up NXT because I don't always watch NXT, but I was like, okay, my fan one, time to watch. I don't think he would have been as celebrated as a champion if it wasn't for being surrounded by Hit Row. But he's been in the trenches for so long. I'm just so proud of him.
Yeah. I feel as though it's kind of like about time. You know, I'm usually one for championship wins coming from a story. This one didn't. This kind of just came out of nowhere. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it at all. Even with the way the match went, that alone, you know, made the win make a lot of sense to me. Also, we know that, you know, there's this talk of Bronson Reed going to the main roster. So, you know, I guess him losing the championship again was no surprise as well. But given the fact that, you know, Scott has Hit Row, you know, Top Dollar, Adonis, and Brianna Brandy behind him, it just makes sense. Everything just looks correct. I'm still questioning Scott's long coat when he comes out. I don't know how that works with everything.
I hate it.
But
I'll just say one thing. I was talking to SCW Steve last week, and he says here in the chat, "Sky is the limit for Hit Row." I was talking to him, and we were saying that obviously, like you just said, Bronson Reed looks like he's on his way to the main roster. Swerve Scott has been the anointed one to take the title from him before he's off, and it's because you said, yeah, it came out of nowhere. It did. But we are rationalizing it and we're okay with it because they've kept him strong up till this point.
Right. Correct.
He hasn't been 50-50, 1 minute winning, 1 minute losing, etc., etc. He's been kept relatively strong. They then had a faction join him. And when they put him in that place, okay, we need Bronson to lose a title. They look around the locker room. Who could it be? Let's give it to this guy. Let's give it to this guy. He's been booked well and we all buy it. So, yeah, it just shows the importance of wins and losses and keeping people strong in the meantime. Jonesy
so they don't end up like Retribution.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Jonesy says here, Hit Row are really great. Intrigued to see where they go next. They just need a babyface stable to feud with. I think Brianna Brandy could be a new Bianca Belair in time.
Possibly. I'm very intrigued and interested to see what happens when they do put Brianna in the ring properly against the other women and what they want to do with her. That's going to be very interesting. But here's a question. So we know that the Great American Bash is tonight. Scott does not have a contender at the moment for his title. And we've seen the images with Hit Row and the Great American Bash or the branding and stuff. What do you think? Or is there even something that you can think of that may happen with Hit Row tonight?
So they're having a championship cipher. So we're going to see some bars tonight. That's what we're going to see. The question is, like you're saying, who is going to come out and interrupt, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't really have any names right now as to who it could be. Escobar, maybe. Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. Him and Swerve were... embroiled in a lot of things when Escobar was cruiserweight champion. Swerve was never able to beat him for the championship. They could have some six-man kind of stuff there. Apart from Escobar, I've got nothing.
Britt, any ideas?
It'll be the start of something big, but I don't know. I'm more excited for the cipher. I'm so tired of seeing the bubblegum wrap that they got on AEW. I'm so tired.
Fair enough. Oh gosh, and just to say, like, there was no one from AEW in the top 10 this month, and that's no surprise. It's just not been happening.
I think Will Hobbs will make the list next week. Not Will Hobbs. Well, I mean, he could, but the Starks versus Brian Cage name.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that could do something for
Starks
sure.
Is about to become FTW champion, guys.
I like him.
I don't know what that championship is, but it
means nothing. It means like you're Taz's favorite.
Right. Right.
Right? Like, isn't that what it means? I don't know.
That's all it means. That's literally all it means. Because it's not even a recognized bout. It's not even a recognized bout. It's about time Cage, gets kicked out of Team Taz, so he'll probably get beaten up after the match. So, you know,
one last good shout. You're gonna jump onto number one, right?
I'm about to.
One last shout before you do. Steve has said here, I'd build the winner of the breakout tournament for the next takeover. Make it a baby face, go through all the rounds to face Swerve. Swerve is a top breakout from last tournament. That's true. 3 years ago on NXT right now. So yeah, that could be a good position. Maybe it's someone like Carmelo Hayes and Swerve. That could be good.
There's a nice list of people it could possibly be on NXT right now. So Swerve is in a very, very nice position as the North American champion. And going to number one, it could not be anyone else at all apart from Bobby Lashley. He's been there now for, I think, 3, maybe 4 months straight at number one. He beat Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, then destroyed Xavier Woods the next night in another Hell in a Cell. The only person to ever win 2 Hell in a Cell matches 2 nights in a row in WWE history. And of course, as we said a few times already, he will be facing Kofi Kingston in the first ever All-Black WWE Championship match.
Winning.
He will win and destroy and dismantle Kofi Kingston in the first ever.
What if Biggie comes running out like?
It can happen, guys.
It could
with
happen.
The briefcase. With the briefcase in hand.
Briefcase. Oh my word. Oh my word. Right. You know what? Let's stop predicting.
All right. See, when he does it all the time.
All the time. All the time.
Playing with
folks,
my emotions, man.
Folks, this has been WrstlXtra. This lady down here is Britt Waters. Thank you once again for giving us your time in your very, very busy schedule.
Her wrestling opinion.
Right.
Yes. Check out my wrestling opinion on Instagram.
Always correct.
And
TikTok.
Right.
100% right.
100% right. I mean, if you want to argue it, we can go in the comments. I don't want to. Like, let's go. You got to tell me if I'm ever invited back. You have to tell me the proper beverage to bring and not tea.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll do that. Definitely. Folks, you have been watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. And of course, you are listening on affinityextra.com. You can follow us all on Instagram. Our handles are on the screen. But if you're not watching and you're just listening, you've got Mex here at WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram. It's Britt Waters. That is Britt Waters, if you didn't realize already. And of course, you can follow me on Black Wrestling Alliance. And if you're not, then just don't bother because I don't understand why you're watching. But those two also on this thing called Twitter as well, somewhere. So you can follow them there too. You probably won't see them there, but whatever. Folks, this has been WrstlXtra, and we are out.
See you later.